Hello, my name is Andrew, and these are the Vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT2, the best all-terrain, all-season barefoot hiking boots of all time. For years, my favorite barefoot hiking boot was the Tracker FG, but then it got replaced by the Tracker AT, which was even better in some ways, except the rubber guard was a bit thick and it made the sole feel a little too stiff. But that got fixed with the Tracker Leather 2, and the results are darn near perfect. First off, the Tracker AT has a wide toe box with a soft leather rand instead of rubber, as well as a rugged leather upper, reinforced metal grommets, woven laces for lockdown, top hooks for quick on off, and fully gusseted tongue for waterproofing. Up top, there's a padded ankle that's slanted and notched in the back for extra range of motion, as well as a removable thermal insole, plus a soft canvas suede lining that's textured to prevent slipping. Underneath, you get a medium 6.5mm zero drop sole of excellent flexibility in all directions that's stitched for durability, and an aggressive hybrid tread that's spaced in the front for wet ground and more beefy at the heel for protection on rocky terrain. FYI, the Vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT runs true to size, and for reference, my feet are 10.5 inches or 26.67 centimeters, so the US 11 or EU 44 fit me perfectly with a little extra room. Honestly, because the original Tracker AT sole was so stiff, I didn't have super high expectations for the AT2, but the leather rand made it feel like a completely different boot. Heading out for a walk, you could still feel the lugs more than a pure road shoe, but without the rubber rand, the 2.5mm midsole was incredibly flexible, rolling more naturally on pavement than the Tracker FG or any other barefoot hiking boot I've ever tested. Switching over to trails, the tread flowed even more smoothly, and the wraparound sole and multi-layered leather were just as water resistant as the rubber version, and probably more so long term, since you can now treat both the rand and the upper with beeswax, and also don't have to worry about glue separation thanks to the double stitching. While not quite as deep as the Tracker SG, the AT sole is still grippy enough to handle powering up snowy hills with the notched hex lugs, and Vivo's rubber is really giving Vibram a run for their money because it's so grippy on rocks, boulders, and wet terrain that you can sometimes even hear a little squeak from the rubber creating so much friction. For serious treks and backpacking, the Tracker Escape is still the most protective option, but adding a thin felt wool insole to the Tracker AT was more than enough for me 99% of the time, and with a couple layers of merino wool toe socks, I was able to get all the way down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit as long as I kept moving. Likewise, the lack of insulation was perfect for warmer days, being much more breathable than the fuzzy Tracker SG, which isn't as practical for summer. Overall, the Vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT2 is the best barefoot hiking boot of all time for anyone who wants a workhorse for all season, all weather, and all terrain, because the leather upper is rugged yet soft and highly water resistant, especially when treated with beeswax. The uninsulated suede and canvas can easily be warmed with wool insoles or cooled with thin socks, and the 6.5mm AT tread is the best in the world for handling absolutely anything from rocks and boulders to mud and slush. However, like all Vivos, the toe box could use a little more volume to accommodate thick socks. The gusset can let in water if it spills in over the midline, and the wider lugs aren't quite as grippy on steep, slippery hills as something more aggressive like the Tracker SG. In terms of similar barefoot hiking boots, the Vivobarefoot Tracker SG has a wide toe box, waterproof leather upper, puffy synthetic insulation, medium thick 7.5mm zero drop sole of great flexibility, and aggressive tread for hiking on snow, slush, and mud. The Lenka Winter has an extra wide toe box, waterproof leather upper, puffy wool insulation, thick 8mm zero drop sole of great flexibility, and aggressive hybrid tread for urban terrain and casual hiking on firm and soft ground. And the Freet Mudee has a wide toe box, waterproof leather upper, synthetic membrane, medium thick 7.5mm zero drop sole of moderate flexibility, and beefy firm ground lugs for hiking on rocks and boulders. Finally, if you'd like to support the channel, you can shop with the referral links down below, browse and filter more products with the shoe finder tool at my website barefootwear.org, or watch my zero drop transition video to learn more about barefooting. Finally, if you have a question about the Vivobarefoot Tracker Leather AT2 or about barefoot shoes in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.